Hello everyone. Continuing our discussion about security threats, top 10 security threats as reported by OWASP, the organization behind collecting, developing and doing a lot of research around the application security threats. We talked about the top 10 security threats, their overview. This one specifically we are going to talk about what is the impact of each of that and what are some prevention mechanism that we can use so that that vulnerability is not in our service and in our application. So as usual, let's move ahead one by one and continue our talk and discussion. First one is the broken access control. This impact of this one is unauthorized users can access and modify the sensitive data. Perform unauthorized actions and exploit system functionalities. By this way, users, hackers or unwanted actors can get hold of the data that is user data that is very sensitive and matters to the organization and can exploit the organization in terms of ransom calls, in terms of money loss, and there is possibility that they can expose this data in open internet and that will breach the privacy of the users. What are the different ways of prevention mechanisms that we can do that? So first one is, it is talking about implement role-based action control, role-based access control. What is this? RBAC. In organization, first of all, the second point, let's see that second point, least privilege principle. In the organization, every employee should have least privilege that they are, by default, everyone should be denied. Everything should be denied. Another way that least privilege, only when they are needed, then allow the access. Another one is like, even if they have credential, username and password of the system that is there, but each of the functionalities that are in the organizations, that should be controlled by the role that they are allowed. So let's say I am able to log into the system portal in my company portal where a lot of user sensitive data is there, but whether I can perform any add, edit or delete operations there, that depends on the role that I have, whether I'm allowed to do or not. By default, view access is there, that is fine, but whether I am able to modify anything there, that depends there. So that should be very limited access. Third point, it is talking about regularly review and update the permissions. That will make sure that everything is updated and any user that has access, like historically they have access, they are not doing anything unintentionally, actually any old application doing the modification around that one, so they should be knowing that they are doing that operations. This regularly reviewing and updating the permission will make sure that is happening. Use access control frameworks and libraries to prevent this one. The second point is about cryptographic failures. So we discussed what are the use cases of this one. Basic introduction when it comes into picture. Whenever we want to store any sort of information, it is user information or any other information, not in plain text but some sort of crumbled text that is not human readable, that is where we use cryptographic algorithms. Maybe some other video I'll be talking about different cryptographic mechanisms, algorithms that are available out there. What is the impact of this one? It can expose sensitive data such as password, credit card numbers and personal information in public. Fines and another impact is a lot of fine and fees charges by authority can be imposed on the company by by non complying the privacy laws that are there. So first point, how it is impacting, like if these informations are stored in the system, not in plain text, they are in with some crumbled text that is not readable, but if that cryptographic mechanism is not proper, so it can be easily decrypted, anyone that is there. So that is what we are saying, that it can impact there. What is the prevention? Use strong industry standard encryption algorithms, properly manage and protect cryptographic keys that are out there, implement HTTPS and secure communication channels, regularly audit and update cryptographic protocols. So this regularly auditing and updating, this is you will be seeing in every prevention mechanism when we talk about each of the threat that are there. Okay, moving to the next one, that is injection. So impact, it talks about this is where the prevention heading is there, but somehow it is missed. So attackers can execute arbitrary commands, steal data and escalate privileges. Injection, we talk about some sort of code that can be inserted into the form and unintentionally it can execute and it can get the access that it is not supposed to get. So loss of user integrity is going to be there, response manipulation is going to be there. How we can prevent it? Use parameterized queries and prepared statement. This is something like before executing any database operations, make sure that that execution that is happening, only keys and data queries that it is allowed to execute, it is executing that only. So if you are using prepared statement and parameterized queries, this will be automatically prevented, that SQL injection and other sort of thing won't be executed there. Special characters won't be going in that query executions. Validate and sanitize all user inputs. Use ORM frameworks that handle query construction securely. Implement input validation and output encoding. So it's in summary, it is talking about whatever user is inserting, user is inputting throughout form or API calls, request, anything. Validate that every input and see it is giving what is expected, not beyond that one, and you will be able to prevent this. Okay, now this prevention heading is coming in. Fourth one is the insecure design. What is the impact? Fundamental security flaws in the design can lead to severe vulnerabilities that are hard to mitigate after deployment. If design is not considered at the initial phases of the design, if security is not considered there properly, that can impact further stages in the development life cycle. It will be very difficult at the same time consuming also, because any sort of product or feature development is coming in, it is coming with the tight timeline, all right, and security is something that you don't want to compromise on. So consider it from the first day of the discussion and you will save a lot of things there. This impact is altering functionalities later in the software development cycle. You will be doing it, so you will be altering the functionalities around it. What are the prevention mechanisms? So that we talked about. Adopt security design principle from the outset, from the day one. Perform threat modeling during the design phase, every phase that you are in, and review those things. Regularly review and update the design to address new threats. Check every integration point that is out there and see if there is any chance of any flaw, any injection, any code review that is there. So, and regularly review and update the things that are there. Educate developers on secure design practices that are there. In Java coding or any coding standard should be like secure coding principle should be there with every company that is there, because if we are not doing the coding properly, there is a lot of chances that that code can be manipulated. Number 5 is the security misconfiguration. Impact of this is systems and data can be exposed due to insecure default settings, incomplete configurations, or open cloud storage. Nowadays everything is, most of the things, not everything, but most of the things are cloud, and people are migrating to clouds. They're putting their data there. So, and a single misconfiguration can expose all of the data to unwanted actors. So that configuration should be done properly, and it can give complete access over the server with one single misconfiguration. How we prevent it? Implement automated configuration management tools. Regularly review and update configurations. Use secure defaults and minimize admin access. Conduct regular security audits and penetration testings out there. So each and every threat that we are talking about, impact and preventions, they should be read in isolation, so that it is not getting confused with other, that two things are overlapping, so only then you will be able to get more understanding, because most of the time you see many of the things, if you employ one prevention mechanisms that are there, so you will be saving yourself from others as well, like regularly updating, regularly reviewing that one, not using the outdated libraries there, okay, and following the least privilege principles, and we will be able to save ourselves from a lot of security threats. With that, coming to the sixth point, vulnerable and outdated components. So this impacts talk about exploitation of known vulnerabilities in outdated software components can lead to data breaches and system compromises. The prevention ways are regularly update and patch software components, use dependency management tools to track and update library. There are many tools out there that scan the libraries that we are using in our services, and that can help us to find out the vulnerabilities that are already there, that are already found out, and their information is available over the internet. That is where this organization OWASP is helping us a lot, and other organizations are also there. So whenever they found the vulnerabilities, they're publishing it and asking the owner of that library to fix that one, or as an user of those libraries and components, it's our responsibility to update them to the latest version. So moving ahead, number 7, identification and authentication failures. Impact can be attackers can gain unauthorized access to systems by exploiting weak authentication mechanisms. Prevention, implementing multi-factor authentication, not the one but multi-factor authentication. It can help us avoid the identification and authentication failures. MFA is like a kind of multiple layer of security. You know the username, password. After that, also you send an OTP to the device, OTP to the email ID and mobile number. Also, that is something you are adding the layers and increasing the security of the system. Use strong hashed passwords and enforce password policies. Securely manage session tokens and invalidate them after logout, so that session is not valid and cannot be used by any other actor in between in the web request. Regularly test authentication mechanism for vulnerabilities. That session invalidation is something this is mostly done by the net banking companies, like online which are storing that one. So one example is that when you are logged into any net banking, the net banking or so net banking basically, and you close that browser, and if you again come back one without logging out, close that browser, come back again, open that one and try to open that, so you won't be able to log in. Actually, you have to enter your username, password and other details again, because these are the mechanisms, these are some prevention mechanisms that have been implemented by those companies, that any sort of closure, logout or anything that can trigger us that user has logged out, the session will be invalidated for that one. But that is not the case with the social networking websites that we have. We have Facebook, Instagram or anything. Once you logged into that one, you are logged into that one. You won't be signed out unless you are explicitly clicking the signed out, correct? So this is like on the social networking side, companies do not want people to log in again and again, because they want the user interaction with them, and it's users' responsibility to secure that information. But with the banking, that cannot be compromised, right? So that is why they are going ahead with that, like logging out everything from there. So it's about the situation where we are in, and that is where how it is being implemented. Moving ahead, software and data integrity failures. It can, if it is there, the impact can be, it can compromise the software integrity. That can lead to backdoors, malicious updates and data corruption. What are the prevention mechanisms? Implement code signing and verify integrity of software updates. Use secure update mechanisms and trusted distribution channels. Perform regular integrity checks on critical data and software. Employ version control and change management practices. And in one terms, if we say what is software integrity, it talks about integrity and quality of the software source code. It should be proper, up to date. There should not be any leak. Data integrity is also that our data, whatever is being stored with the companies, it's secure, and we can trust that company that our data won't be used for any other purpose that is not communicated to us, and also that is not intended for them to be used. Okay, so these things talks about integrity and principles. These are the prevention mechanisms that are listed out here, like implement code signing, use secure update mechanisms, perform regular integrity checks, and employ version control and change management practices so that we save ourselves from this vulnerability. Ninth is the security logging and monitoring failures. Impact can be lack of proper logging and monitoring can allow attackers to go undetected, leading to prolonged breaches. If any unwanted thing is happening, so I should be able to see in the logs and our monitoring system that something is happening that is not intended. So that is how I should get alert on the monitoring and logging things. How we prevent it? Implement comprehensive logging and monitoring solutions. Ensure logs are tamper-proof and securely stored. Regularly review logs and set up alerts for suspicious activities, and conduct regular security audits and incident response drills there. Coming to the last one, that is server-side request forgery, also called as SSRF. Impact can be attackers can manipulate server-side requests to access internal system and sensitive data. How we prevent it? Validate and sanitize all user inputs that generate server-side requests. Restrict the use of network protocol and internal IP address ranges. Implement network segmentation to limit the impact of SSRF. Use firewalls and access control lists to restrict outbound requests there. So this is where we have come to end all top 10 OWASP reported security threats. We have talked about impact and prevention. Many of these prevention mechanisms you see are common throughout all. So if we employ couple of them, we will be able to save ourselves from most of them. So if you want more like this one, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye.